Ladies and gentlemen, you can imagine something for a moment. Picture yourself walking into a room full of the very people who doubted you, laughed at you, dismissed you, and told you that you would never make it. Now imagine you don't have to raise your voice, you don't have to argue, you don't even have to explain yourself, because the undeniable weight of your success does all the talking. That's what I mean when I say kill them with success. But let me tell you something, it doesn't happen with talent alone. It doesn't happen with dreams, and it sure as hell doesn't happen with luck. It happens because of discipline. Discipline is the invisible force that separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers, and the ones who quit from the ones who win. We live in a world obsessed with outcomes. People look at champions, billionaires, scientists, innovators, and they think they must have been lucky. They must have been gifted. They must have had some special advantage. But the truth, backed by neuroscience, psychology, and raw human history, is that discipline rewires the brain to win, and the absence of discipline guarantees failure. Let's get scientific for a moment. Inside your brain, every time you resist a distraction, every time you choose to do the hard thing instead of the easy thing, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, focus, and long-term planning, gets stronger. Like a muscle in the gym, it adapts to the weight you put on it. That's why discipline isn't just a habit. It's a biological transformation. You are literally sculpting a brain that is more capable of success. When you wake up at 5 a.m. instead of hitting snooze, when you say no to junk food, when you work on your goals while everyone else is scrolling their phones, you are teaching your nervous system how to prioritize long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. That is the essence of winning. But let's not keep this in theory. Look at history. Michael Jordan was not just talented, he was obsessed with discipline. He practiced more than anyone, stayed longer in the gym, pushed himself harder in training than he did in games. Elon Musk isn't just a genius, he works insane hours, reads obsessively, and maintains relentless discipline over his time. And I'll tell you this, in medicine and neuroscience, we see the same pattern in patients who recover against all odds. The ones who follow the brutal, uncomfortable regimen of therapy and treatment, day after day, hour after hour, those are the ones who come back stronger. Discipline creates winners in every field. Now, let me tell you a story. Years ago, I studied a group of young athletes. Same age, same starting point, same physical abilities. We tracked them over 10 years. Do you know what separated the few who went on to become champions from the rest who faded into obscurity? Not talent, not luck, not family support. It was the micro decisions. The decision to train when tired, the decision to stick to the meal plan when their friends were out drinking, the decision to push one more rep when their muscles screamed for rest. Discipline was the difference. And you know what? Their brains changed. Their stress resilience improved, their focus sharpened, their emotional regulation got stronger. Neuroscience showed us the hard evidence of what we already knew intuitively. Discipline builds an unbeatable mind. And here's the irony. Discipline doesn't make your life smaller, it makes it bigger. People think rules, structure, and discipline are chains. They think freedom is doing whatever you feel like doing. Wrong. That's not freedom. That's slavery to impulse. True freedom is having the power to do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. True freedom is building a life that is yours, not one dictated by cravings, distractions, or fear. Success is not a debate, it's physics. Cause and effect. Discipline in, results out. But there's another layer. Discipline is emotional. Let's be real, most of you don't lack knowledge. You know what to do. You know you should work out, save money, study harder, cut toxic relationships, stop wasting time. The problem is not knowledge, it's execution. And execution hurts. It's uncomfortable, it's lonely. It demands sacrifice. That's why discipline isn't just a logical tool, it's an emotional battlefield. It's waking up in the morning and facing the voice inside that whispers, "Take it easy, you deserve a break." And then you shut that voice down and move forward anyway. Science shows us that self-control isn't infinite. Willpower fatigues like a muscle. But here's the good news. You can train it. You can build routines and systems that make discipline automatic. Do you think Navy SEALs rely on motivation? No, they rely on systems. They don't wake up and ask themselves if they feel like training. They train because that's who they are. Winners don't negotiate with themselves, they execute. Ladies and gentlemen, We live in an era where distraction is the default setting. Your phone is engineered to rob your attention. Every app designed to hook your dopamine system. Every advertisement screaming for your focus. If you cannot master discipline in this environment, you will be eaten alive. Because while you waste hours scrolling, someone else is building, someone else is training, someone else is sharpening their edge. And when you meet them in the arena of life, they will destroy you. Not because they're smarter or luckier, but because they were disciplined while you were distracted. Think about revenge. The sweetest revenge is not screaming at your critics, not throwing insults back at your enemies. The sweetest revenge is silence, paired with success so undeniable that they choke on their own words. When you pull up in the car, they said you'd never afford. When you stand on the stage, they said you'd never reach. When you hold the life they said was impossible for you. That's the knockout punch. But don't mistake it. That punch is fueled by years of discipline in the dark, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one even believes in you. You see, people underestimate the compounding effect of discipline. They want results fast. They want overnight wins. They want recognition now. But discipline works like compound interest. At first, it feels invisible. No one notices your small sacrifices, your daily grind, your extra reps, your late nights, your early mornings. But one day, the curve explodes. The results hit all at once. Suddenly, the person who was ignored becomes unstoppable. And everyone around asks, how did they do it? The answer is simple. They did what you refused to do. And I'll give you something raw. Some of you here are suffering because you care too much about proving yourself to others. You want validation, you want applause, you want acceptance. Forget that. Kill them with success. Not with words, not with explanations, not with pity stories. Words fade, excuses rot. But results are eternal. Results are undeniable. When I study resilience in patients recovering from traumatic brain injuries, the same truth appeared again. Those who built strict routines, those who forced discipline into their day, even when their memory was weak, even when their motivation was shattered, those were the ones who returned to life, rebuilt careers, and outperformed the odds. Discipline literally rebuilt their brains. And if discipline can restore the broken, imagine what it can do for someone like you, fully capable, sitting here with no excuse except laziness or fear. So I ask you, what is your revenge plan? What is your weapon? Because if it's not discipline, you're unarmed. If you're relying on passion alone, on motivation alone, on good intentions alone, you're dead in the water. Success is war. And war is won by soldiers who show up every day, who follow orders, who execute the plan. Discipline is the order you give yourself. The question is, will you follow it? Or will you betray yourself again? Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is not glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy most days. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's grinding. But it's also the seed that grows into greatness. Every extraordinary human you admire was built, not born. And they were built brick by brick, habit by habit, sacrifice by sacrifice. The discipline you practice today is the empire you live in tomorrow. And if you think it's too late, if you think you've wasted too much time, let me tell you this. The brain is plastic. It can rewire itself at any age. The body can adapt. The mind can grow. The spirit can harden. The only question is, will you pay the price? Will you shut down the distractions, cut off the excuses, and live a life that silences your enemies with undeniable success? Because if you won't, someone else will. And they will take everything you ever wanted. This is your chance to decide, discipline or regret, execution or excuses, success or failure. The choice is yours. Let's dive even deeper into the reality that so many people refuse to face. Success is not a matter of talent, it is a matter of consistency, and consistency is simply discipline stretched over time. You can have sparks of brilliance, flashes of inspiration, even moments of extraordinary effort, but if those moments are not sustained, if they are not repeated day after day, they vanish into nothing. Discipline is the bridge that turns moments into momentum and momentum into mastery. Consider the science of habit formation. Neuroscientists have found that habits are built through loops, cue, routine, reward. The brain loves efficiency, so once it recognizes a pattern, it hardwires it into the basal ganglia to save energy. That means the more disciplined you are, the more automatic success becomes. At first, discipline feels like force, like pushing a heavy boulder uphill. But once the groove is carved in your brain, discipline becomes natural, almost effortless. What once required conscious effort becomes who you are. You don't just do discipline, you become disciplined. That identity shift is the ultimate weapon. Think of the stories of great innovators. Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before producing the light bulb, was not sustained by passion alone. He was sustained by a relentless discipline to keep experimenting. Think of Serena Williams, who didn't just dominate because of natural ability, but because she was willing to practice every day with the same intensity, whether it was a championship final or an empty court at dawn. The world remembers the trophies, but what built the trophies was discipline. Now let me share with you a truth that will sting. If you are not disciplined, you are weak. And weakness in this world is punished. Life does not care about your excuses, your background, or your feelings. Life responds to output. It rewards consistency. It respects execution. And when you fail to enforce discipline on yourself, the world enforces consequences on you. Poverty is a consequence. Failure is a consequence. Regret is a consequence. But discipline, it liberates you from those chains. It buys you freedom. Because once you are disciplined, you no longer fear the future. You know that no matter what happens, you will outwork, outlast, and out-execute. That confidence, that unshakable certainty comes only from discipline. And that is why discipline creates winners. Not because winners are special, but because they built themselves to be reliable in a world of quitters. I've seen this in medicine as much as in business. Two patients can be given the exact same diagnosis, the same treatment plan, the same opportunity to heal. One follows every instruction with precision. The other picks and chooses what's convenient. Guess which one lives, and guess which one doesn't. Discipline isn't just a business strategy, it's a survival mechanism. Now let me pull this back to you. What is your daily life teaching your brain? Every time you hit snooze, you are teaching your brain that your word means nothing. Every time you skip a workout, you are teaching your nervous system that discomfort is your master. Every time you procrastinate on the task you know matters most, you are teaching your prefrontal cortex that avoidance is acceptable. These are not small decisions. They are identity decisions. You are casting votes for the person you are becoming. Discipline is voting for strength. Laziness is voting for weakness. And eventually, the ballots are counted, and your life is the result. Let's talk about revenge again, because I know some of you burn with the memory of people who doubted you, hurt you, betrayed you. Good, use it. But don't waste that energy on words or petty battles. Redirect it into discipline. Let their voices echo in your head while you work at midnight, while you run in the rain, while you study until your eyes blur. Let their doubt fuel your discipline until the results become a hammer that smashes their disbelief into dust. That is the art of killing them with success. And yet, there is an even greater purpose than revenge. At some point, discipline ceases to be about them and becomes about you. It becomes about the man or woman you see in the mirror. Because when you are disciplined, you don't just win, you respect yourself. Self-respect is the ultimate wealth. You can buy every car, every house, every luxury, but if you look in the mirror and see a liar, a quitter, a weakling who couldn't keep promises to themselves, you are bankrupt. Discipline builds self-respect brick by brick. And when you have self-respect, you don't need external applause. You already walk in power. Neuroscience supports this too. Studies show that individuals with higher self-discipline report higher levels of life satisfaction, greater well-being, and lower levels of anxiety and depression. Why? Because they trust themselves. They have proven over and over that they can rely on their own execution. That internal certainty is the foundation of confidence. Real confidence isn't fake bravado. It's the quiet strength that comes from knowing you can deliver when it matters. Now, I want to paint a picture for you. Imagine two versions of your life 5 years from now. Version 1, you kept living as you are today, taking shortcuts, chasing distractions, abandoning discipline whenever it felt hard. Where does that lead you? Be honest. More of the same, maybe worse, regret piling up, dreams fading, that sinking feeling that you wasted another 5 years. That is the price of indiscipline. Now imagine the other version, 5 years of consistent discipline, 5 years of honoring your word, 5 years of doing the hard thing instead of the easy thing. Where are you? Stronger body, sharper mind, healthier finances, more respect, greater opportunities, enemies silenced, friends inspired, a life that radiates power. That version exists, and the only thing standing between you and it is discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, the clock is ticking. Every day is a vote. Every day you either strengthen your chains or strengthen your freedom. Success is not waiting for you. It is not going to knock politely on your door. It must be hunted down with discipline, captured with discipline. So when you leave here, I don't want you to just feel inspired. Inspiration is cheap. I want you to feel challenged. I want you to feel a little angry at yourself for the years you've wasted, for the potential you've buried under excuses. And then I want you to make a vow to yourself, not to me, not to anyone else, that you will be disciplined, no matter the cost. That you will kill them with success. That you will silence every doubt, every critic, every enemy, not with arguments, but with undeniable results. And here is the truth. Those who have the courage to live with discipline will look back one day and smile, not because the journey was easy, but because it was worth it. Because they didn't just win trophies or earn money. They became warriors. They became leaders. They became people who can look in the mirror with pride. Discipline creates winners. Success kills doubt. And the combination, ladies and gentlemen, creates a life that cannot be ignored, cannot be denied, cannot be forgotten. And that is the life you deserve if you are willing to pay the price.